Allow congregants to gather, but from a safe distance.
We all have to take precautions to keep ourselves and our families safe during this ongoing public health crisis. To stay safe, we need to stay home this year.
Describing himself as...
Anyway, this right here real quick on the Sixers last night. It was a great game, but right there, as you saw, I was listening to news radio when they're talking about COVID-19. Right now, this is the day for those who observe Christmas and everything. Is Christmas Eve is what they call it, and they're bringing up the COVID-19 things. They know people like to gather with their families, and they're trying to tell them, you know, don't gather. These are the things that cause the COVID-19 to spread more. Listen, go ahead and gather with your family, do those things, all right? The data is out there. See, this is the problem with a lot of that. They'll have data on one hand, right? But then what they're telling you to do, instructing you to do, won't really support the data, right? There's data out there that states that COVID-19 in and of itself as a virus, in and of itself doesn't really harm you. What harms you is having a compromised immune system that is not prepared to deal with anything that's different, right? So once the compromised immune system deals with it, the immune system, which is there to deal with any outside threats like viruses, like bacteria that it isn't used to, it'll react. Like, so when you see coughing is just the immune system causing the body to react to something. It just wants to throw it out of itself real fast. That's why you cough, to throw it out, right? Fever is really to cause the body to overheat and sweat out a virus or bacteria, right? So those are the things that happen. Now, what happens with the compromised immune system that's deficient in any essential vitamin or any essential mineral that you need to combat a thing, what it'll do is overreact and attack itself. So then you have the body attacking you. And that's why people have the respiratory problems and they end up on respirators and all those types of things. It comes from a compromised immune system. The data does say that. Even the CDC has data that if you really look far enough and read, it'll say that, even though the CDC is, you want to trust them, that's your business, right? There's data out there that suggests that anyone who has high vitamin D3 levels, or vitamin D levels, period. But vitamin D3 is special because it makes it easier for the body to digest and things like that. Vitamin D3 levels, according to the CDC on their website, they say that anyone whose levels are higher, according to tests they've done on people who had low and people who had higher, you are 1.77% less likely to be affected by it if you do come across the virus, right? So this is what should be told to us repeatedly on the news, CNN, all these different places. They should be telling us to really to boost our vitamin D levels and our vitamin C levels, because when you're deficient in those areas, you're more susceptible to being harmed. Okay? They can do more for you than this. They really can. It really can. Now, if you're a person with pre-existing conditions, then right, you take those extra precautions. You know what I mean? But even them, they should be boosting the immune system. At any rate, Sixers. Overall, I like most of what I saw. I also see areas where improvement is needed. One thing is for sure, our coaching upgrade is evident. We saw that towards the end of that game with 2-some minutes left in a close game when we needed a bucket. Doc Rivers knew what to dial up, and it worked. And he actually used Ben Simmons, which was like amazing. Whenever we've seen situations like this in the past with the previous coach we've had for the last 7 years, typically he'll try to draw up a 3-point shot. even when it's not needed. Usually it's what he does, Brett Brown, because he just was not a good coach. Doc Rivers has shown that, this is pretty much a new day. We haven't seen this type of coaching really since Doug Collins and really Larry Brown. Competent coaching, a whole staff full of guys that know what they're doing. I was happy to see that. That's my main thing. Players, Embiid, he was Embiid. He was himself. His conditioning, I think, is better. He's never going to be like conditioned like LeBron James. That's never going to happen. So I don't expect that. He is clearly about 300 pounds. Though he's not, to me, he doesn't look like a completely out of shape 300 pounds. He doesn't look like like how Shaq did when Shaq gained all that weight. Embiid, he wears it, but he's not going to be, 240 pounds or 230 pounds. That's not going to happen. Right, so he's going to have some of that trouble with guys in transition. Those type of Bam Adebayo guys who are running 80 miles an hour and all of that. He's going to have that disadvantage there. However, he's going to be at the advantage. He's going to have the advantage in the post every time against those guys. So I'll take that. I'll take the guy with the Embiid skill set and the size over like those fast guys and Capellas and those guys, who want to just run up and down the court and try to quick them all over the field. Because it's shown that the Bam Adebayos, when you get to the finals and you deal with an Anthony Davis, it's not going to be good enough. Okay? So Embiid did his thing. Tobias Harris. We're off to a bad start with him. However, right now where I'm at with Tobias and Ben, actually, I'm kind of at where I'm at right now is I'm going to trust Doc Rivers for a little bit. I'm going to trust Doc Rivers. That whatever the case is, wherever the guy needs to be or however it needs to be utilized, I trust that Doc Rivers is going to figure out the best way to utilize him. Right? That's kind of where I am now. So I'm going to give it really a number of months to see what's up with that. One thing we got to understand about the basketball seasons is that they're marathons. They're not, dashes. It's not a 40-yard dash. It's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So I'm willing to go with a coach who I trust, knows basketball 100 times more than me, and who's competent, who's won before, to kind of figure some of that stuff out. So I'm not tripping so much over his bad game last night. And I'm not going to actually add to it some of his bad games last year because that was under Brett Brown. Brett Brown is not good, okay? Doc was able to unlock Tobias before. Now I realize it's going to be more of a challenge because Tobias is forced to be a role player. He's not going to be the guy here. He doesn't have the skill set that enables him to be the guy, right? When he was with the Clippers, he was able to actually kind of be that. He happened to have been, on that particular team, the most skilled offensive player, right? So that had a lot to do with why he excelled. The same with when he was in Detroit. He was probably the best scorer, wing scorer on that team. They had Andre Drummond and I believe at the time they had Reggie Jackson still and those types of guys on the team who weren't, particularly great scorers. And Tobias Harris was really the best scorer on the team. Most of those other guys were defenders and role players. So the Pistons traded him for Blake Griffin for obvious reasons. They even chanced the fact that Blake Griffin just never stays healthy for Tobias Harris because they realized, you're going to need one of those potential upper echelon guys if you have any hopes of doing anything. So I get what's happening with Tobias. He's struggling to find his role. I trust that Doc will be able to figure it out. You know what I mean? That's the good thing having a coach like him. Before I get to Ben Simmons, Danny Green and Steph Curry. Steph Curry, he didn't look great yet, but I'm not worried about it. I'm really not worried about it. Those guys are trying to implement systems that are new to them. I mean, of course, some of the concepts they should have, but I'm not worried about that. What you're going to need to open up things for Ben and Embiid is for those guys to hit shots. Danny Green is not going to just shoot that bad. We got to remember that Danny Green was part of that Laker team last year that won the championship. Most of those guys, you saw how they looked against the Clippers. They just don't have their legs and stuff like that. So Danny Green is kind of partially going through what those Lakers teams, what their whole team was going through. Though it's not happening with Dwight Howard, right? Which is interesting, but still, I'm going to go there with Green. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt for the moment. Seth Curry, you got to understand, is blanketed because the scouting report tells you to blanket him when you're on the team. So what he's going to have to do, and what they're going to have to do is just come up with creative ways to get him the ball. Unless he learns to score better with the ball. By setting up and creating his own shot. We'll see. I'm not tripping over that right now. The best part of the team so far, from what I've seen, is the bench, man. The two major pleasant surprises there. Shake Milton, needs to work on his defense. His defense was horrible, but his offense was stellar last night. He grabbed his 19 points. That's good. He kind of did what we want Tobias to do. Shake kind of did that last night. And of course, the rookie, Tyrese Maxey. Maxey, he really looked real good. And really, from what you can see, Maxey is the best pure point guard on the team. Let me say that again. Tyrese Maxey, just in case you don't know and you can't recognize, is the best pure point guard on the team. Really, he is better than Ben Simmons at point guard play. Not saying he's a better player than Ben Simmons, of course, but I'm saying he's a better point guard on the team. And this is going to be interesting to see what Doc does with this. If we don't get any trades for James Harden or any of that stuff comes to fruition, how is Doc going to distribute the minutes at point guard? Right now, I saw him put him in at backup point guard. And this was interesting too when Matisse Thybulle was absent. So there were some people on the radio today saying, Maxey's better than Matisse Thybulle. And that's why he was in the game. No, that's not the reason Maxey was in the game. Maxey and Matisse Thybulle played two totally different positions. Maxey happens to have a skill set that is needed, right? We don't really have a backup point guard after Ben Simmons. Shake Milton can do a little bit of it, but he's not really going to be playing point. He's going to be there to more so score, play that combo role. Maxey can actually play point guard, so he's the backup point guard. That's why we're able to 5 minutes for him right away. Doc is able to do that. What's happening with Matisse is playing behind. He's really a 3, so he's got to try to 5 minutes. He's competing with Danny Green, also competing with Shake, who's versatile to play there, and also sometimes competing with Tobias, who plays the 3 sometimes. Right, so it's going to be tough to 5 minutes for him. It's tougher to 5 minutes for him than it is for Maxey, and that's due to just the circumstance and the players you have on the team. It's not necessarily he's better than him, right? Of course, he's the better offensive player, scorer. We know that, but defense is also part of basketball. And though Maxey, I see, has some defense in him, he's not Matisse Thybulle on defense. Matisse is special on defense. And Maxey might be special maybe on offense. We'll see. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has value. He does. He does have value as a basketball player. Now, what Doc has to do is determine what his actual value was. As I talked about earlier, intimated earlier, Ben Simmons did help us actually down the stretch, in particular defensively, and he also got to the rim a few times. And he did something that will be very key. The key for Ben Simmons to be a real contributor on this team is for him to become an effective off-the-ball player. I'm going to say it again. If Ben Simmons can become an effective off-the-ball player, then this team may be able to reach where it can reach. If he can only play on the ball, meaning be the point guard, be the guy who initiates everything, sets up all the plays, I'm afraid the team won't reach the heights it can reach. He has to be able to effectively do both because of his limit when it comes to shooting the ball. I've given up the idea that Ben is going to be a guy that's going to go out there and shoot the ball 10 times a game. I don't see it happening, even though he does go out there and practice and he's shooting around. Why? Beats me. But until he becomes an effective off-the-ball player, at least as effective as he is on the ball, there's going to be problems. But I saw some signs that he may be okay off the ball when Doc ran that play for him. That was very good. That was very impressive. So that's just one game down. I'm looking at the rotation. I'm seeing that we have an upgraded coach. I like the bench. Dwight Howard might be my favorite pickup because that's my kind of basketball. That old real Bill Russell, old school, grind it out type of ball. Go for block shot, excellent defense play. That's my kind of stuff. He's the first legit backup we have for Embiid. I'm excited about that. And that's pretty much what I got, guys. I don't like my videos to go all crazy long. So that's my word on the Sixers and kind of what happened last night and where I see where we at. So until I think we play Sunday or Saturday. I think we play Saturday. And I'll see you then, man. And also, my Eagles commentary is coming too. My Eagles Dallas preview. All right, I'm out.